This is a permanency hearing involving the Rogers child.
Ms. Slagle, can you give the court an update for how Dean is doing and how Mr. Rogers is doing with his compliance with services?
Yes, Dean is doing fantastic. He's up to date on all of his medical and dental. There was concerns of him having some issues with his private parts. I don't know how to say that, live streaming. But he went to the doctor a couple of days ago, and there's absolutely no issues with that. He'll go back when he's 2 just to have it checked again. And then Braden has been doing everything we've asked. He's did 2 in-person visits, I believe, this month with Dean. He's did 2 virtual visits with Dean, which those have all went well. I supervised those virtual visits, which Dad did interact with Dean. It took him a minute to get kind of warmed up, but then he did talk to him and stuff while he was playing. I had given Braden a list of some things that I had seen in the home that needed to be fixed, and he has been working diligently on getting those things done. There's still some other things that need to be done that we discussed. It's a concern that his mom is now in the living room of the home, and she is bedridden, not able to get up, with some medications around and some things like that. And so we discussed lock boxes for medications and the concern of that not being a normalcy for Dean. And we discussed maybe trying to come up with some options to be able for him to have a normal upbringing if and when he was to go home.
And thank you. Just so we're clear on the record, I believe at the last hearing there was talk that Mr. Rogers was going to be moving into someplace else, but it sounds like since that time he's elected to remain in the home from which the child was removed at the outset of the case. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. And I had asked him about that because he had plans to move into a home in Amarillo with a friend. And then when I was out on leave, he had brought up moving into a trailer house that his grandfather had. When I asked him about it, it's still not livable. His sister's in the middle of remodeling or updating that home, so he has allotted to stay in his mother's home.
Okay, thank you. But other than that, you would say he's compliant and doing everything he's being asked to do?
Yes, he is. Like I said, the only concern, and we visited in great length about the normalcy for Dean. It's not normal for Dean to be put just in a hallway or in his bedroom because his mom and all of her medical stuff is in the living.
Okay, thank you. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Seal?
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Mullinax?
Michelle, how many in-person visits has Braden had?
I believe he's had 4 since they've started the in-person visits.
And are you present for those or no?
No, we have his courtesy worker or his LPS worker in Weatherford sets those up for him.
Okay. And you said that you had supervised some virtual visits, correct?
Yes, I've supervised 2 virtual visits and back.
Was there a period of time where he wasn't having visits or no?
He was started because I was out for 3 months. So he had started those visits, and I could be wrong on the amount. I can absolutely check really fast for you, so I'm not giving you the wrong amount of times. I know it took a couple weeks for me to get the virtual visits set up for him, and then we did have a difficult time. Some of those was on my error on getting the virtual visit set up correctly. but they've been pretty frequent since I have started getting those set up. So he did have an in-person visit on the 18th, the 11th. And then let's see, I don't see any in February. And then he had 2 in January.
And were there some in-person visits that were scheduled that he didn't attend as well?
Yes, there has been a couple since I've been back. He's had a couple that he was not able to get to.
Is the department or St. Francis helping him with transportation there or no? Because I think the placement's in Weatherford. So
He does have a vehicle and he is transporting himself.
and so the transportation issue wasn't because the department didn't have the ability to get him there. It was his own whatever was happening with him, correct?
That is correct.
And has he done his OSAR assessment?
Yes, he did his OSAR assessment and there was no recommendations due to him having negative UAs.
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Anyone have further questions for Ms. Slagle?
No, Your Honor.
Michelle, would it be a continuing danger to the physical health and safety of Dean to be returned to Mr. Rogers today?
Yes, I believe so today, sir.
Would it be contrary to Dean's welfare to be returned to Mr. Rogers today?
Yes, I believe so, sir.
Okay. And I'd read that maybe that Mr. Rogers might need to or should possibly reapply for Social Security benefits. Is that correct?
Yes, that's been a discussion since the beginning of the case for him to get that done and for us to get him reevaluated or for him to give us the documentation or release of information to be able to find out who diagnosed him with autism, which they're having a hard time getting that information for me. But we have discussed him getting reevaluated for that so that he can maybe get back on his Social Security.
Okay, all right. But there's nothing the court needs to order today. That's in the works.
No, he's able to do that, and
Okay.
he can absolutely do that on his own.
Okay, all right. I've just asked because this case has already been extended and we're going to have to be setting it for a final hearing. So, okay. Mr. Graff, anything further from the department?
No, Judge, I think the department rests. I would just note for the record, we had, before we extended this case, we had set a mediation. But because at that time we were extending based on father's good faith effort to cooperate with his services and progress in his services, I think we should probably revisit that issue this morning and perhaps set a mediation ahead of whatever date we set for the final.
Okay. All right then. All right then, Ms. Seal, did you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Mullinex, any witnesses?
I have no witnesses, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Mullinex, recommendations.
Your Honor, I believe that placement is safe and appropriate. Dean is now in daycare. There was an issue last time about him going to daycare because of the illnesses going around, but he has been since put in daycare and he's doing well. He's walking apparently everywhere and getting into things, but he's also been getting into things. He's doing very well. My concern is the missing the visits. And if we're going to look toward reunification, then he needs to get some more visits. I realize it's in Weatherford, but
Yeah. Okay.
that's
All right then. Ms. Huckabee, does CASA have anything else to add?
Yes, I agree with Aaron. The visits are kind of a concern. Melissa and John were able to see Dean in the home, and he is doing extremely well. And he's doing great in daycare too. And like she said, getting around great. So,
Okay. All right then. I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue Dean's current placement. I will order the case to go back to mediation. And I can't micromanage it, but I do agree. I think that Mr. Rogers needs to have more visitation with Dean. So I won't put a number or a time limit on it because I know everybody's stretched kind of thin as far as visitations being supervised. So, all right, I will set the final in this case for July 29th. We've got a dismissal date of August 6th, so that's August 8th, I'm sorry. So that's as close to the end of the time as I can get it. So that will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties can ask their lawyers or anyone can go on the court's online docket a day or two before July 29th to see what time of day we'll have that hearing so that you're not waiting around in the waiting room. So, okay, we'll be in recess on this case. I will be back at 10:30 for some of you. Actually, I don't think any of you are involved in it, but I will be back to call a Dallam County final hearing continuation on the Cooper child. So we'll be in recess. Everybody have a good rest of your week and have a good weekend.
Thank you, Judge.
This is a continuation of a final hearing involving the Cooper child.
Mr. Ivy, you are St. Francis Ministries Permanency Specialist.
Yes, sir.
In that capacity, you are familiar with child Lucas Cooper.
Yes, sir.
And Lucas is currently in a foster home that may eventually want to adopt him.
Yes, sir. They've stated they're wanting to adopt.
That he's been in that home primarily from the time he was born.
Yes, sir.
He's done well there, is developing on schedule, and has no concerns.
He has a 2-month delay, but that's a neurological issue. But I mean, he's hitting his milestones considering like the health issues he has. Like he's thriving in the home.
And for the record, those health issues relate back to what we believe is the addiction issues that his mother had.
Yes, sir.
Stephen Sides has been alleged to be a father to Lucas. You found Mr. Sides in Dalhart, but he did not have a permanent residence.
No, sir.
And when you talked with him, he said he was willing to work services, but he's never reached out to you to attempt to actually work any services.
No, sir.
As far as you know, he's not made any attempts to adjudicate himself as the father.
No, sir.
We ordered that he do a DNA test, but we were not able to track him down long enough to get samples so that he could do a DNA test.
Yes, sir.
Nobody had, other than Mr. Sides, has ever made any content or comments to you that they might be the father.
No, sir.
Nobody, including Mr. Sides, has filed any court to be adjudicated as as Lucas's father.
No, sir.
When we ran a paternity registry search, that paternity registry search came back without a name of a father.
Yes, sir.
You believe at this time that it would be in Lucas's best interest for any unknown fathers or for Mr. Sides' parental rights to be terminated?
Yes, sir.
That would allow Lucas to be adopted by his current foster home.
Yes, sir.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Archer.
And Tucker, you did ask, what steps did you say you've taken to find out if there could be any other possible fathers?
I talked to Kelly and she told me there wasn't any possible fathers, that it was Mr. Sides. And Mr. Sides said that he was definitely the father of Lucas.
And I tried to send Mr. Sides a letter and I didn't get it back. Do you know, you said he is homeless in Dumas? Is that what your testimony was?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so do you think this address that I have is an old one or his prior one?
It could be his mother's address. I honestly don't know.
And does his mother have contact with him?
It's not frequent contact.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Turner.
Lucas is doing well in this placement, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he has been there his entire life for the most part, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you see any reason that his placement will need to be changed at any point in the near term?
No, sir.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Anyone have further questions for Mr. Ivy?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ivy, any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor, we'll rest.
All right. Ms. Archer, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Judge.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Turner, recommendations?
Your Honor, I would recommend that in the best interest of Lucas, that Mr. Side's parental rights be terminated, as well as those of any unknown fathers. That the mother's affidavit of her, I think we may have terminated her at the last hearing, but that her parental rights be terminated pursuant to her affidavit of relinquishment, and that the department be maintained as the temporary managing conservator, and that placement be continued.
All right. Okay. Ms. Ledbetter, CASA, have anything to add?
Nothing to add, Your Honor. We're in agreement with Mr. Turner.
Okay. All right, then, based on the evidence I've heard today, as well as the evidence that I heard when we last started this final hearing on, looks like February 4th. First of all, I will make mother's interlocutory termination, which this court announced on February 4th. I will make that a final order of the court, terminating her rights based on her affidavit of relinquishment, which is on file in this case. I further find that it's in the best interest of Lucas Cooper that the parental rights of the alleged father, Stephen Sides, or any unknown father be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based on Texas Family Code Section 161.002B3. And I will take into note the paternity registry search indicates no one has claimed to be the father of the child, and that Mr. Sides has not filed any type of motion in this case as stating that he is the father or asking to be found to be the father. I will name the department permanent managing conservator. I'll continue Lucas's current placement. I will continue Mr. Turner in this case as Lucas's attorney ad litem. Ms. Ledbetter, does CASA want to stay in or get out of this case?
Yes, Your Honor, we can stay in for a little bit longer.
Okay. All right. I will also continue CASA in this case. All other court-appointed relationships will be dismissed after all appellate and de novo periods have expired. We will have our first review hearing on June 17th, 2026. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two before June 17th to see what time of day we'll have the hearing. Ms. Archer, if you do happen to get a hold of Mr. Sides, please explain to him his appellate and de novo rights.
I will, and I'll send a letter to the address I have.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. We will be in recess on this case. For any of you involved, I'll be back at 11 o'clock to call another Dallam County case. That's a final hearing involving the Montoya child. So we'll be in recess till 11. Y'all have a good rest of your week and have a good weekend. This is a permanency hearing involving Javier Montoya.
Ms. Cook, you're a St. Francis Ministries permanency specialist.
Yes.
In that capacity, you are familiar with Javier Montoya?
Yes.
And he is currently placed with his mother, Natalie Silva.
Correct.
And they live, my understanding is in Mission, Texas. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do we have someone who has regularly visited Natalie and Javier in Mission?
Yes.
And what kind of reports are you receiving about how they are doing in her home?
The courtesy worker states that Natalie's doing a great job caring for both of her kids at the same time, being able to juggle them both, providing them with a safe home, appropriate home, plenty of food, all working utilities. She has transportation. She does have car seats. So everything is being met for those children.
Are we asking today that we continue the monitored return for the time being?
Yes, we don't have any concerns, but we haven't set her up with daycare yet. And we want to get that daycare payment established so she has that aftercare daycare.
Child's father is Jose Lopez Montoya. Have you been in contact with Mr. Montoya?
Yes, I have.
Has he continue to express to you that he wishes to sign an affidavit of relinquishment?
Yes, he has.
And have you talked with Miss Silva about him signing an affidavit of relinquishment?
Yes,
And is she in agreement with that?
yes.
So as soon as we can get Mr. Montoya's affidavit, then we can proceed with the termination of his parental rights.
Correct.
In the meantime, has he worked any services for you?
No,
And is he exercising any visits with Javier?
no.
So currently, we're just asking that the court continue the department as temporary managing conservator, that we leave Javier with his mother, and that we continue to work trying to get Mr. Montoya's affidavit of relinquishment signed.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lucero.
Just a couple, Your Honor. Ms. Cook, once the daycare gets set up there for Natalie and she's monitored for a bit longer, and if and when Mr. Montoya, signs that affidavit of relinquishment, if he does, at that time, could we come back for a final hearing and get this case wrapped up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Grant.
Ma'am, Mr. Montoya, or let me start over. Are you aware that Mr. Montoya made an appointment in my office to come and sign his affidavit?
No,
Okay. Would you have any reason to disagree with me if I told you he did not arrive at that appointment?
No.
And would you be willing to also have a copy of the relinquishment with you or a courtesy worker at a visit, should he be willing to meet you in another location where I am not present at the time?
yes,
Okay, and so can we agree that whichever one of us can get with him in a room will get the affidavit?
yes.
Okay, and he has another appointment, just for your information, if you need to come next week, and we're hopeful he will show at that appointment.
Okay.
Pass witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Ms. Holcomb.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Alba, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor, we'll rest.
All right, Ms. Lucero, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Grant.
No witnesses, Judge, just that we're in agreement that anyone who can get that affidavit, I am on board for them to receive my client's signature. He does
Okay.
want to execute it.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Holcomb, any witnesses?
No witnesses.
All right, Ms. Holcomb, recommendations.
Your Honor, I would just recommend that the department continue temporary managing and that he continues with the monitored return of his mom. That's really all I have. Things are going good.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Wyatt, counsel, have anything to add?
I would just like to note that I talk to Natalie multiple times a week and Javi, and they're doing great. We would just recommend that we continue until we can get daycare established so that she can have that. And also my office, Tori knows this, is open for Jose to come here to relinquish and we'll get it taken care of.
Great, okay, thank you. All right, then I will continue the department as temporary manager conservator, continue the current placement on the monitored return back to mom. I'll go ahead. Mr. Albee, how far out do you want me to set the final?
Judge, if you give us 60 days, surely we can get it done in 60 days.
All right. Brittany, why don't you give me a date? Early May.
Okay.
We have, was it 5/6? We had May 6th on another one.
Yeah, we do have May 6th. Let me make sure that one should be okay. Or we also have May 8th.
All right, which one y'all want? Any preference?
We have other Dallum cases May 8th as well.
Okay. All right, let's do it that way. All right, then I will set the finals for May 8th, 2026. It will be by Zoom, just like today's hearing. Parties can ask their lawyers or go on the court's online docket a day or two before May 8th to see what time of day we'll have the hearing. That way you won't be sitting around in the waiting room. So, all right, we'll be in recess.